Greetings, agents. This is the Mediocre Gamer. Thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. I'm really glad you're here and I hope that you are doing well. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share so that I can produce more videos. Today we are looking at a True Patriot build. Now, True Patriot tends to get a little bit overlooked and overshadowed by other more powerful builds. So it's not something that you would see every day, and it's not something you may think about using. One of the things I really like about the Division 2 is that there are endless options when it comes to putting builds together. So you may not be familiar with True Patriot, you may not have been interested in it, and there's probably a pretty good reason for that is it gets overshadowed by other builds like Strikers and Negotiator's Dilemma and so forth. Also probably overdue for a rework. So the build that I'm going to be showing you is just one True Patriot build. It's probably not the best True Patriot build. The idea is to not only get you thinking about creating builds of your own, but also looking at builds that you may not consider or builds that you may pass over because you're kind of using a Striker build as your daily or Hunter's Fury as your daily or something like that. So that's my intention, is just to show you a True Patriot build, what other pieces that you can put with it to try and get it to work or to try and have some fun with it or something like that. So let's have a look at, first of all, 4 pieces of True Patriot and what they give us. So you get 30% ammo capacity and you get 30% mag size. And that mag size really comes in handy, I can tell you that. And then the talent, the 4-piece talent, is called Red, White, and Blue. So every 2 seconds, enemies you shoot receive a stacking debuff of Red, White, and Blue. So red amplifies the enemy's damage taken by 8%. White, shooting the enemy repairs the attacking agent's armor by 2% once every second. Doesn't give bonus armor, just take note. It only repairs you back up to full. And then blue, it decreases the enemy's damage dealt by 8%. Alright, so red kind of gives you a bit of a damage amp. White repairs your armor. Blue kind of gives you a protection from enemies buff, I guess. And then full flag, so enemies that die while under the effect of all 3 debuffs create a 5-meter explosion, dealing damage equal to their total health and armor. And the explosion damage reduced on named enemy deaths. And then on this build, I'm actually running the backpack. So the backpack talent is Patriotic Boost, so that increases the debuff strength. So red gets a boost up to 12%, white gets a minor boost up to 3%, and blue gets another boost up to 12%. Now, just with True Patriot pieces, they do drop with a blue armor core. So on this build that I am running, I have recalibrated a number of pieces, I think 3 pieces to weapon damage. So I just ran Countdown a couple of times. I think I maybe ran 3 or 4 times True Patriot as targeted loot until I got the pieces I needed to drop with critical hit chance or critical hit damage. And then I just recalibrated those armor cores to weapon damage just to give us a little bit of extra damage there from our submachine gun, just so that, because if you're probably going to be running this solo, you want to have a little bit of a balance between damage output and survivability. So I recalibrated the backpack, the gloves, and the knee pads to have weapon damage, and that left the mask with an armor core, and obviously Picara's holster has an armor core. So we've got 4 weapon cores and 2 armor cores. So our total armor is about 1.2 million. So a little bit of survivability there, coupled with the True Patriot talent, as well as the perfect preservation from Emmeline's Guard. Now, if you're not too sure how to actually recalibrate a piece, then I can show you how that actually works. Provided that you have the ability to do this, you just go into your inventory, you select the piece you want, you press M on PC for Tinker, then you select Armor and then select Recalibrate. and then go to weapon damage, and then press X to transfer that. And then you now have a piece of True Patriot with weapon damage maxed out to 15%, which comes in handy. The next piece I have is Picaro's holster. It's a named Brazos piece, and that comes with an armor core. It also comes with 10% weapon damage as default, so that just helps us to output a little bit more damage than what we normally would. And then for the other minor attribute, I have rolled that to critical hit chance. And then for the chest, I'm running a Sokolov Concern piece, which gives us 10% SMG damage because the primary weapon that I'm running is an SMG on this build, so that allows us to output a little bit more damage. The talent I'm running is Obliterate, so critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, and that stacks up to 20 times. So the potential there is to increase the weapon damage by 20% for 10 seconds. And all the minor attributes on this build are spec'd into critical hit chance until I got to about 55%, and then I spec'd into critical hit damage. Now, as I mentioned, the weapon I am using is a named SMG called Emmeline's Guard. So that is quite a reasonable SMG. Obviously, being an SMG, we get SMG damage. We also get an abundance of critical hit chance from this, which really helps you get to that, 55 to 60% crit hit chance. And I have re-rolled the third minor attribute into damage to targets out of cover. So the talent that this weapon comes with is Perfect Preservation. So killing an enemy repairs 15% armor over 5 seconds. And if you're good at headshots, then you can also take advantage of the second part of this talent. So headshot kills improve the repair by an additional 15%. So if you can land headshots, you can get 30% armor on kill. There's only 2 mod slots available, and I have, on this particular weapon, I've spec'd into accuracy because I'm not very good at shooting things. So I need all the help I can get. So I've basically got an additional 60% accuracy there. Now, if you don't have Emmeline's Guard, you can farm it outside of Countdown by running the Capitol Hill mission, and there is an increased percentage chance that it will drop running that mission. So if you run it on Heroic, then it should drop eventually. Just make sure that you don't run it on invaded missions. Just run it on the standard, I believe, True Suns, the normal hostiles within that mission. So run it on True Suns, maybe on Heroic, and it should drop for you eventually. The specialization that I have chosen is Gunner. So there's a couple of reasons there. We get another 10% for armor on kill. So combine that with Emmeline's Guard, we're looking at 25% armor on kill or 45% armor on kill if you can land headshots. We get 10% weapon handling while not moving. Every third reload is 50% faster. Rate of fire increases by 5% on kill for 5 seconds, which is pretty good. Submachine gun damage by 15% by speccing into that as well. Right, so we just have a look at the stats now. Weapon damage is 80%. Critical hit chance is 55%. And critical hit damage is 116%. So overall, it's not a terrible build. It's not great either. It's somewhere in the middle of the road, but it is quite capable of running heroic content. Well, that is my take on a True Patriot build, agents. If you have any feedback or thoughts, or if you already run a True Patriot build as your daily or one of your favorite builds, then I'd be keen to hear how you have it set up. So please leave a comment in the comments section. Feedback is always welcome, but I hope you found this build helpful. And if you did, please remember to like and subscribe. I thank you very much for watching. That's all for now. Until next time, agents, you stay safe out there and take care.